Those of you who are here being DPOs, you know that you are always being seen as the controller freak, the control freak, the compliance person. Actually, in my organization, how we do it is that we adopt what I call the 4 C's. Okay, so I've got a lot of acronyms that I use, learning from Kevin, of course. The first C is about, well, we have to manage it, we have to control it for sure. We need to meet compliance. But the next C, I think, is critical because it is about collaboration. How do you collaborate with all the different stakeholders within the organization to be able to then achieve the organization objectives? Because we are living in a very different world, whereby at the end of the day, it's all about the business. And I make it very clear that if the business doesn't exist, the role doesn't exist. So what do? You facilitate, you collaborate. And that's the reason why in our recent redesign of the office in the organization that I'm working for, they have decided to break down the walls because now you've got this thing called a co-working space. So what happens? They allow the DPO, in this case, and also I'm acting as a group DPO for one of the clients. They make me sit together with the team. So what happens? You listen to the conversations, but you collaborate and you provide insights. And I think you've got to sometimes think outside the box that if they have an issue, do not just look at the issue, but rather look at opportunities and where are the possibilities for us to actually address some of maybe the control issues that they are seeing, the compliance issue that they're having. And I think this is where it will always make a difference if you go in with a collaborative approach rather than from a compliance and control approach. It basically would change the mindset. And I think right now what we have seen, having done this the last 3 months in this organization, it opens up more conversations. And I think like the last instance that we did was this, together with the DPO, there was this enforcement case of Love Bonito. And because the organization that we are working for has an e-commerce platform, so straight away what we did at night, we had an enforcement case being published at night. The next day we had a meeting. And we brought in the business owner to be involved because they were using exactly the same system as what Love Bonito was using, the Magento system. And we had a meaningful discussion about what can go wrong. If this happened to Love Bonito, could it happen to us? So in that case, it opens up a discussion rather than top-down. I think in this case, we became more collaborative. And arising from that, what did they do? The IT department came out with a checklist quickly from the enforcement case, and that becomes something that make people aware. And this is where people see the value that the DPO office bring, because here we are protecting the interests of the organization. So this is one example they do. And I think for me, key is always about collaboration.